Yes, Doc.
Pero you can
Ay,
understand Tagalog.
Um,
Not? You do not
Pinoy
understand?
po. Pilipina po ako.
Sige, sige. Is there anybody who does not understand Tagalog in your class? Wala naman. So we can go Taglish. Do you want Taglish na lecture or pure English na lecture? Uy, sumagot kayo.
Taglish po, Doc.
Another question. Did you read your ebook, your lecture guide? Kasi may lecture guide kayo, di ba? Did you read your lecture guide on carbohydrate metabolism, yung totoo?
Not yet po.
Bakit hindi nyo pa binasa ay magla-lecture na kayo? Did you watch the video? The uploaded PowerPoint slides? Hindi rin. Hindi nyo alam na matagal na naka-upload yung lecture? Because supposed to be the lecture is just a lecture enhancement. You do not expect everything to be stated in the lecture, kaya in-upload na kaagad yung video for you to read, to listen to it, and then you read your lecture guide so that it will be easy for you to understand the lecture. Kasi kung hindi, mahihirapan kayo. If this is your first time to listen to it, carbohydrate metabolism is a very long topic. And this is metabolism already, pathways na to. So pag hindi kayo nagbasa, mahihirapan talaga kayo. And that should not be the case. That's the reason why we have your lecture guide. You have your lecture guide. Other schools do not have a lecture guide in biochem. They just rely on the lecture. Pero kayo may lecture guide. And everything that we lecture is in the lecture guide actually. Plus, naka-upload na yung video ng lecture sa inyo. So if you have listened to it, alam nyo na dapat ang carbometab. I will just enhance what you do not understand very well. And then you can ask me to further explain whatever you did not understand. Yun dapat kasi ang mangyari eh. Ang problema sa karamihan sa inyo, you do not read ahead, you do not listen ahead. Tapos pag nagle-lecture niya, hindi nyo maintindihan talaga. And that is your fault. It is not our fault if that is your case. You should have read your lecture guide, you should have listened to the PowerPoint so that magkakaintindihan tayo ng maayos. Because I'm not going to go through all the slides. No, we don't have time for that. Masyadong mahaba. Okay? I will just go through the different parts that are hard to understand, lalo na sa mga computations. And I do recitations during the lecture. So you listen. All right. So your first slide here states the different functions of carbohydrates, which you actually should have taken up during your lecture on carbohydrate metabolism, carbohydrate chemistry. And just to reiterate, the major function of carbohydrates in your body is to provide you with energy. Energy. Carbohydrates are actually the cheapest, pinakamura, and the chief source of energy in your body. Of course, fats will give you also, kaya lang mas mahal ang fats compared to your carbohydrates. And then you can link your carbohydrates to proteins. You call that glycoproteins, and to lipids, that's glycolipids. Now, the characteristic sugar of the blood is glucose. So whenever you say blood sugar, that refers to glucose. Although there are different sugars in the diet, yung blood glucose na blood sugar na sinasabi only refers to glucose. And you will see the reason why glucose is the only one that you call the blood sugar. Now, it is from glucose that all other carbohydrates in the body can be formed. You can form galactose from glucose, you can form fructose from glucose, you can form ribose from glucose, etc. That's what that means. This is your composition of carbohydrates in the Filipino diet. Filipino to, 60% ang starch natin. And what is the major source of starch in your diet? Abigail, Gabiancha? What is the major source of starch in your diet? Unmute. Abigail. Anong kinakain mo na major source ng starch mo?
Carbohydrates po daw.
Anong pagkain? If you ask a layman, hindi kanya sasagutin ng carbohydrates.
Rice po.
Rice. And what kind of carbohydrates is rice, Pamela? A Peña? Is it a mono, an oligo, a di, a poly? Tapos na kayo mag-carbochem. You should have the classification already of your carbohydrates. Abinal, Maria,
Poly po.
polysaccharide. Your rice is a polysaccharide. And what kind of polysaccharide? Jewel, Fontanilla? Jewel, anong klaseng polysaccharide? Ano bang klase ng polysaccharide? Homo, hetero? What is it? Sus. Bernardo, anong sagot mo?
Homo po.
What do you mean by homo? When you say that it is a homopolysaccharide, what does that mean? Bernardo, Sharans.
Means that they have the same glucose or carb molecules po.
It means that they have only one kind
One
of
kind.
monosaccharide. So what is that one kind of monosaccharide that you find in your starch? Angela, Gapos. What's that monosaccharide in your starch? Basic chemistry lang yan. Kagiwa, Mayber?
Yes po, kagiwa. Glucose po.
Glucose. Puro glucose lang ang starch. Okay? That's a homopolysaccharide. Pag sinabi mong heteropolysaccharide, that means hindi lang iisang klase ng monosaccharide ang nandun. That's your carbohydrate chemistry. You should know that already. Sucrose is 30%. That is your table sugar, the sugar in your ice cream, the sugar in your cake. 5% lactose. Bakit konti lang ang lactose sa diet natin? The major source of lactose in our diet is milk. Mara, Abdul Wahid, bakit konti lang yan? What usually develops among Filipinos as you grow older? You
Ano
are
po,
done with the lecture on digestion.
Lactose intolerant.
Okay.
Intolerance.
It's common among Filipinos to develop lactose intolerance as they grow older. Kaya, even if you were able to tolerate milk when you were still younger, pag naging adult ka na, mapapansin mo, medyo sumasakit na yung tiyan mo pag umiinom ka ng gatas. You are developing lactose intolerance already. Now, cellulose is the fiber in your diet. You get it primarily from vegetables and fruits. You do not derive energy out of cellulose. Pero why is it so important in your diet? Hindi ka naman nakaka-derive ng energy from it. But it is important that you have cellulose in your diet for 3 reasons. What are these? Daniel, Danganan, give me one.
Nutrients po.
No? Flores, Feliz? Why is it important that you should have fiber in your diet?
To assist po the digestion of foods.
Wrong? Abinal.
It helps the food move through the gut po.
So that, pag nag-move through the gut, anong meron ka? Madaling ano?
Madaling ma-absorb po yung nutrients.
This will make you defecate faster. It aids in constipation. It adds bulk to your stools so that you're going to defecate regularly. Pag hindi ka kumakain ng prutas at saka vegetables, magde-defecate ka lang mga once a week. Imagine you just move your bowels once a week. Anong mangyayari sa'yo? You are going to become very irritable. You're going to have headaches because hindi ka nag-excrete ng toxin mo araw-araw. And your fiber in your diet normalizes your bowel movement because it adds bulk to your stools. Another reason, Castro, Andrea. Another reason why you should have fiber in your diet? Vargas, Louis? Vargas. Are you there? Are you not there?
I'm here po, Doc.
Oh, anong reason? Second reason why you should have fiber in your diet. Palagay ko sinabi yan sa lecture ninyo sa digestion. Maria Beatriz, aside from normalizing your bowel movement,
all I know po is it assists in the breakdown of food po. Or it lowers cholesterol po.
this is not an enzyme, so it does not digest your food.
Lowers glucose.
How? It actually lowers the absorption, not the glucose itself, just the absorption. How? It slows down the absorption of glucose. Mas slow ang absorption ng glucose kung may fiber ka. Compared to when you eat refined sugars. Alam niyo kung ano yung refined sugars? Juice, ice cream, cake, refined sugars lahat yan. And it is very fast ang absorption nila. So yung pagtaas ng blood sugar nyo is very rapid also. What happens whenever your blood sugar shoots up? What do you stimulate to be released?
Insulin po.
Insulin. The most potent stimulus for the release of insulin is hyperglycemia. Pag tumaas yung blood sugar mo, automatic magre-respond yung katawan mo to release insulin para ibaba yung blood sugar mo. Kasi otherwise, if that blood sugar stays elevated, magkakaroon ka ng diabetes mellitus. Now, a high fiber in your diet slows down the absorption of glucose. Hindi masyadong tumataas, and so, hindi mo kailangan na maraming insulin para ibaba yung level niya. Hindi ngayon mapapagod yung pancreas mo. Kasi kung palaging nakataas yung blood sugar mo at kailangan mo ng insulin palagi, mapapagod yung pancreas mo. At pag napagod si pancreas mo, hindi na siya gagawa ng insulin, then you are going to develop diabetes mellitus. That's why it is said that a high fiber diet is very good for those with potential diabetes. Ano ibig sabihin ng potential diabetes? You have diabetes in your family. If both your parents are diabetic, chances are 95 to 100% you are going to be diabetic also. Hereditary kasi yan. Whether you like it or not, magkaka-diabetes ka. Kasi dalawa ang source ng heredity mo. If only one parent is diabetic, chances are 50% you will become diabetic. And so, sasabihin mo, ganun naman ho pala . Whether I like it or not, I'm going to be diabetic because both my parents are diabetic. Well, at least you delay the onset. Delay the onset. Usually, noon, ang nagkaka-diabetes, mga 60-year-olds. So after 10 years, nagkakaroon ng complications, 70 na siya. Once you develop the complications of diabetes, you die. At least naka-70 ka na, pwede ka pang maka-reach ng 80. Kung nag-umpisa kang mag-diabetes, 20 o 30 ka pa lang. Kasi nowadays, there are students in their 20s, in their 30s, developing already diabetes. 25 ka lang, diabetic ka na. 30s to 40s, nagkaroon ka na ng komplikasyon. 40 ka lang, patay ka na. Because you will develop complications whether you are treated or not. Eventually, you will. Just recently, this is a true story. I have a student, medical student, 22 years old, died of diabetic ketoacidosis. Komplikasyon kaagad ng diabetes. So young. The parents did not know. Both parents are doctors. The parents did not know dahil asymptomatic siya. There is such a thing as an asymptomatic state of diabetes. You don't have manifestations, but when you get your blood sugar level, mataas na yan. Eh, hindi naman kayo nagpapa-blood sugar nang walang nafe-feel, di ba? So you will never know whether you are in the asymptomatic states or not. Pero definitely, if you have parents or grandparents that are diabetic, you are in the potential states. So watch your diet. You watch your diet so that you will not have the manifestations at a very early age, and you are not going to die at a very early age because of the complications of diabetes mellitus. So that's second reason. It delays the absorption of glucose, it slows down the absorption of glucose so that you are not going to tire down your pancreas, and your insulin release will always be good. The third reason is it has been proven through researches that a high-fiber diet protects you against colonic cancer. It used to be that people developing colonic cancer are those who are 70s and above already. Pero nowadays, mga 20s pa lang nagkakaroon na ng colonic cancer. 20s, 30s. Bakit? Hindi na kayo kumakain ng prutas and vegetables. Especially so if you are eating in food chains. Wala ka namang makikitang prutas and vegetables sa mga McDo, sa mga Jollibee. May vegetable nga na nakaipit sa sandwich mo, isang hibla lang ng veggies yun. That's not enough. For you to be protected against colonic cancer, at least you should eat 7 servings a day of your fruits and vegetables. 7 servings a day. So, ibig sabihin, kakain ka ng prutas and vegetables during your 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then you eat also your fruits and vegetables during snack time, morning snack, afternoon snack, midnight snack, so that you are going to get all the required amount of fibers to protect you against colonic cancer. Okay, digestion and absorption, you were done under your lecture on digestion and absorption. I just want to point out that the carbohydrates that you eat, the 3 major monosaccharides that you get from the carbohydrates that you eat are glucose, fructose, and galactose. Sila yung major. Siyempre, may iba pa na monosaccharides like mannose, ribose, etc. Pero yan yung pinaka-major. And once they reach the liver, all these monosaccharides are converted to glucose. Galactose to glucose, fructose to glucose, mannose to glucose, ribose to glucose, etc. So that eventually, puro glucose na lang siya. At pag lumabas yan sa general circulation, glucose na lang siya. That's why, when you say blood sugar level, that is blood glucose level. Kasi nga, na-convert na sa glucose lahat ng ibang monosaccharides. So that's the reason why the blood sugar is blood glucose. Yung pupunta sa general circulation, puro na glucose. Yung pupunta sa lahat ng extrahepatic tissues, puro na glucose. Okay. Now, so what happens to the glucose? By the way, para makapasok yung glucose sa loob ng cell, because from the blood, kailangan pumunta siya sa cells para magamit mo siya as source of energy. What should you have in order for the glucose in the blood to enter the cells? Jewel, Pontanilla. Ano dapat meron ka? Jewel? Are you there? O naka-parking ka lang? Kasi pag hindi ka sumagot, mamarkan kita ng absent.
I'm here po, Doc.
Oh, you have to answer whenever I call you. If you do not know, you say, I do not know. Pero huwag kayong tumahimik para alam ko kung nandiyan kayo o wala kayo. Oh, what's the answer? What should you need? What should you have in order for your glucose to enter the cells? Pamela? Daniel? Para makapasok yung glucose mo sa cell mo, ano dapat meron? Insulin. That's why insulin is very important. Hindi makakapasok ang glucose sa loob ng cell pag wala kang insulin. Andun lang siya sa blood. At pag nandun lang yan sa blood, magkaka-diabetes mellitus ka. Kailangan pumasok siya sa cell para magamit siya as source of energy, which is the primary function of your carbohydrates. There is only one cell in your body where glucose can enter, maski wala ka pang insulin. And that is the liver cells, hepatocytes. Pwedeng pumasok yung glucose sa liver cell, maski wala kang insulin. Yun lang yun. Hepatocytes lang. All the rest of the cells, you need to have insulin in order for the glucose to enter. So once the glucose is inside the cell, ano lang mangyayari dun sa glucose? 50% is converted to energy. That's the primary function. And the first pathway that it will enter is glycolysis. First pathway that glucose enters para magkaroon ka ng energy out of the glucose. 30 to 40% is converted to fats. So take note. If you're very fond of eating carbohydrate foods, mabilis tumaba. Because the extra carbohydrates are converted to fats. For the same reason, mabilis magpapayat if you go on a low-carb diet. That's why if you're going to look at all the reducing diets, there is one common among them, and that is low-carb. Kasi yun ang nakakapayat. 10% is converted to glycogen for storage in your liver as well as in your muscles. So that's where you store your glycogen. 10% lang yan. Now, pagpasok sa loob ng cell, what happens to glucose? This is the first reaction that happens to glucose inside the cell. Take note, the reaction is irreversible. Pag sinabing irreversible, ibig sabihin, you cannot use the same enzyme for the forward and the backward reaction. Hindi mo pwedeng gamitin yung hexokinase to convert back glucose 6-phosphate to glucose. Irreversible. Pero, it is possible to convert glucose 6-phosphate back to glucose using another enzyme. And that other enzyme is glucose 6-phosphatase. And glucose 6-phosphatase is present only in the liver. So it is only possible to convert glucose 6-phosphate to glucose in the liver. Kasi doon ka lang merong glucose 6-phosphatase. Hindi pwede sa muscles, walang glucose 6-phosphatase doon. Now this is a phosphorylation reaction. You added a phosphate coming from ATP. Why are there two enzymes? Ang mauuna dyan is hexokinase. Hexokinase can act even if the level of glucose is low. Glucokinase cannot act if the level of glucose is low. It can only act if the level of glucose is high. Also, once the level of glucose 6-phosphate is high, kung mataas na yung glucose 6-phosphate level mo, automatically hexokinase is inhibited. That's what you call feedback inhibition. The enzyme is inhibited by its own product. Now, glucokinase is not inhibited by high levels of glucose 6-phosphate. Third difference. Tatlo yung differences ng hexokinase and glucokinase. Yung unang sinabi ko, hexokinase can act if the level of glucose is low. Glucokinase can only act if the level of glucose is high. Second difference, hexokinase is inhibited by high levels of glucose 6-phosphate, whereas glucokinase is not inhibited by high levels of glucose 6-phosphate. Third difference, hexokinase can act on all hexoses. So, pwede siya sa fructose, pwede din siya sa galactose, basta hexose. But glucokinase can only act on glucose. So, those are the three differences. So, this is a phosphorylation reaction, irreversible. Gumamit ka ng isang ATP. Alright. Now, what will happen to the glucose 6-phosphate? As I've said a while ago, you can convert it to glycogen. The pathway is glycogenesis. It enters glycolysis, 50%. 30 to 40% becomes fat and cholesterol. You can convert it back to glucose using glucose 6-phosphatase. Number 5 is actually the continuation of number 2. Yung papasok sa glycolysis, it will undergo oxidative degradation to CO2. This is actually the Krebs cycle. Magka-partner ang glycolysis at saka Krebs cycle. For maximum energy production, glucose must enter glycolysis and then the Krebs. That's for maximum energy production. Another pathway that glucose 6-phosphate enters is the HMP shunt. Another one is the uronic acid pathway. So we will start with the first pathway, glycolysis. What is the literal meaning of glycolysis? Anong ibig sabihin? Literal meaning. Abinal, Mardia, what is the literal meaning of glycolysis? Ano yung lysis versus glyco? Literal
The
meaning.
breakdown po of glucose.
Right. Lysis is breakdown. Glyco is glucose. So glycolysis is the breakdown of glucose. The breakdown of glucose to energy. That's what it means actually. Now this is the major pathway for glucose utilization, which is found in all cells. There are 2 forms of glycolysis, aerobic. And what is the end product of aerobic glycolysis? Abigail? Gabonta? End product ng aerobic. Feliz Flores, what's the end product of aerobic glycolysis?
Pyruvate po.
Pyruvate. How about anaerobic?
Lactate.
Lactate. All right. Now, from here on, you will be meeting a lot of pathways. Lalo na sa lipid metab, maraming pathways yon. And it will be very hard to remember all the pathways, especially mga enzymes na tinatawag na control enzymes. There is one easy way to remember the pathways. You make a tabulation. Ano ang nasa tabulation mo? First column, you should have the name of the pathway. Second column, the synonyms of the pathway, other names. Kasi may other names yan. Third column, the location of the pathway. Nasaan ba siya? Cytosol, mitochondria, nucleus, ribosome, location. The fourth column, functions of the pathway, major functions of the pathway. The fifth column, control points of the pathway. Paano mo i-control yung pathway? What are the enzymes that you have to stimulate or inhibit? So that's the control point. And the last, the energetics of the pathway. Energetics means how many ATPs did you produce? How many ATPs did you use for the pathway? All of those parameters, if you know, for every pathway that you pass through, marami ka nang alam nun. Okay? Now, it is said, your glycolysis, the other name for glycolysis is Embden-Meyerhoff-Parnas pathway. It is located in the cytosol. It is basically an exergonic process. When you had your lecture on energy metab, you already discussed exergonic and endergonic reactions. How do you differentiate the two? Angela Gapos. Exergonic versus endergonic.
Yung exergonic po is where the change in yung free energy po nagiging negative.
So what do you mean by that? Are you releasing energy? Are you using energy?
Release po.
All right, you release. Pag endergonic?
You accept po.
You use. Gumamit. Endergonic means you are using the ATP. Exergonic is you are producing the ATP. All right. Now, when you say that glycolysis is basically exergonic, That means there is a part that is endergonic, there is a part that is exergonic, pero mas lamang yung exergonic. You produce more than what you use. That is what basically exergonic means. Okay. Now, there are tissues in your body that cannot use aerobic glycolysis kasi wala silang mitochondria. Pwede lang mag-aerobic kung may mitochondria. Kung wala, anaerobic glycolysis ang gagamitin. And the RBC, the cornea, the retina, the kidney medulla, and so on, uses only anaerobic glycolysis as source of their energy. Now, all in all, this organs uses only 40 grams of glucose per day. Konting-konti lang. In contrast, your brain uses 120 grams of glucose per day. Malaki ang requirement ng brain mo for glucose. So in order to maximize the use of your brain whenever you are studying, kailangan kumain ka muna. Kasi kailangan mo ng 120 grams of glucose to sustain the energy needs of your brain. Huwag kang mag-aral na hindi ka kumakain, na gutom ka. Kulang ka ng energy to sustain the functions of your brain. Okay? Now, the heart muscle cannot survive under conditions of ischemia. Cancer cells have very rapid glycolysis. Mabilis ang glycolysis ng cancer cells. And so, they produce a lot of pyruvate which can be converted to lactic acid. And if you have so much lactic acid, you go into a condition called lactic acidosis. Nakakamatay yun. Whether you go into alkalosis or acidosis, it kills. Remember that there is an optimum pH for your body to function, 7.4. Above that, you go into alkalosis. Below that, you go into acidosis. Either way, you can die. Okay? So too much of lactic acid can cause lactic acidosis. Now, these are the functions of glycolysis. Primarily, it's for the production of ATP. And the intermediates are the substances that are part of the pathway. You can convert these intermediates to amino acids, to fatty acids, etc. You will see that when we describe the pathway. There are two phases of the pathway according to Harper. First, you have the energy investment phase. Investment means you are going to use, gumamit. So this involves the first three reactions in glycolysis. Glucose to glucose 6-phosphate. Glucose 6-phosphate to fructose 6-phosphate. Fructose 6-phosphate to fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. So those are the first three reactions in glycolysis. You invested, gumamit ka. So that's the endergonic part. And then you have the energy generation phase. This time, you are going to produce ATP. Now, Harper divides it into the splitting stage, where fructose 1,6-bisphosphate with 6 carbons is split into 2 sugars with 2 carbons each, dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde. So they call it splitting stage. Now, strictly speaking, wala ka namang na-produce na energy dito. So ideally, this should not fall under energy generation. Dapat nandun pa siya sa energy investment. That's the reason why, if you look at the two phases of glycolysis, magkaiba si Harper at saka si Leninger. Leninger is the author of another textbook in biochem. Si Leninger, sa energy investment, kasama itong splitting stage. Ang kanyang energy generation phase is just the oxidoreduction phosphorylation stage, which is the part that really produces the energy. So mas tama si Leninger kaysa kay Harper. This is Leninger's. Preparatory phase refers to the energy investment that is up to dihydroxy, and the payoff phase refers to the energy generation phase. That's only the oxidoreduction phosphorylation stage. So mas tama siya. Now we go to the pathway. Emden, Meyerhoff-Parnas pathway. Energy investment phase. First reaction, tapos na tayo dito. Irreversible, gumamit ka ng isang ATP. Take note, in glycolysis, lahat ng irreversible steps considered na control points. Lahat ng irreversible steps, control points yan. So hexokinase and glucokinase are control enzymes. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng control points? If you want to stimulate the pathway, you do not stimulate every reaction. You only stimulate the control points. If you want to inhibit, you only inhibit the control points then. Kuha nyo? Okay. So the first control point in glycolysis is the hexokinase glucokinase step. Second reaction is reversible. You call it isomerization. You are converting an aldose, that's glucose, to a ketose, that's fructose. The third reaction is again irreversible. And if you look at it, pareho sila ng first reaction. Gumamit ka rin ng ATP. Irreversible din siya. So this is another control point. This is the second control point of glycolysis. And aside from being a control point, this is what you call the rate limiting point or the committed point, committed enzyme, committed reaction. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng rate limiting or committed step? It is the major control point. Siya yung pinaka-major among the control points of glycolysis. Take note of the enzyme, phosphofructokinase 1. It's abbreviated as PFK1. Bakit may 1? Kasi merong phosphofructokinase 2. If you are using phosphofructokinase 2, ang magiging product, fructose 2,6-bisphosphate. Magkaiba yon. Now remember that merong fructose 2,6-bisphosphate. Later on, I will tell you the role of fructose 2,6-bisphosphate. But for glycolysis, you are using PFK1. So the product is fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. So if you're going to summarize the energy investment phase, dalawa yung ginamit na ATP. Dalawa yung in-invest mo. Dalawa din yung control points. And between these two control points, isa sa kanila ang tinatawag na rate limiting step or the committed step. And that's the phosphofructokinase 1 step. The fourth reaction, and by the way, in biochem, there are 3 pathways that you should know by heart. Pag sinabi kong you should know by heart, memoryado mo yan step by step. Kasi sa board exams, tinatanong yan ng detalyado. The 3 pathways, urea cycle under protein metal, Krebs cycle, and glycolysis. Tinatanong ng detalyado. Example of a board exam question. How many ATPs do you produce after the 6th reaction of glycolysis? Paano mo sasagutin yun kung hindi mo alam kung alin yung ika-6? So pag sinabi kong 5th reaction, you should know automatically kung ano yung reaction na yun. Alright? So the 4th reaction, this is now the splitting stage. Fructose 1,6-bisphosphate is split into dihydroxyacetone and glyceraldehyde. This is reversible. Enzyme is aldolase. The other name for aldolase, cleavage enzyme. Clinic-cleave niya yung fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. 6 ang carbons niyan. So pag cleave mo, dalawang sugar na tigta-tatlo ang result. They have 3 carbons each, dihydroxyacetone and glyceraldehyde. The 5th reaction is isomerization. Convert dihydroxy to glyceraldehyde and vice versa. Baligtaran. It's an isomerization reaction just like your second reaction. So, whatever happens to dihydroxyacetone phosphate also happens to glyceraldehyde. Kasi nga baliktaran sila. Kaya yung mga reactions under glyceraldehyde on the right side, imagine that to be under dihydroxyacetone phosphate also. Meron din yan dito under dihydroxy. Hindi lang nakasulat. Kuha nyo? So whatever ATPs you produce on the right side, you multiply it by 2. Kasi meron ding manggagaling sa dihydroxyacetone phosphate. Is that clear? 6th reaction. Glyceraldehyde to 1,3-diphosphoglycerate. If you look at this reaction, nag-release ka ng NADH. This is the first oxidation reaction in glycolysis. In biochem, if you convert NAD to NADH, kailangan ibalik mo siya as NAD. Meaning, meron kang pagbibigyan nitong hydrogen. Dito, saan mo ibibigay si hydrogen? You give it to the electron transport chain. You discussed already the electron transport chain when you had energy metal. Nasaan si electron transport chain? Andrea Castro. Where is it located?
Mitochondria po.
Mitochondria. So you are going to transfer the hydrogen in the cytosol to the ETC in the mitochondria. Anong kailangan meron ka to be able to transfer? Andrea? Ano dapat meron para may transfer mo yung nasa cytosol to the mitochondria?
Yung system po ba, Doc? Yung shuttle system.
All right, shuttle system. And what are these 2 shuttle systems? Abdul Wahid? Mara? Ano yung dalawang shuttle systems that you have discussed already? Maria Beatriz, ano yung dalawang shuttle systems na inaral nyo na?
Yung complex 1, complex 2 po.
Of course not. That's the part of the ETC. I'm asking the shuttle systems. Poronda, Maria Hazel.
Yung malate aspartate shuttle.
All right, and the other one?
Glycerol 3-phosphate shuttle.
Malate aspartate shuttle and the glycerol phosphate shuttle. Sila yung magsha-shuttle, magta-transport ng hydrogen na nasa cytosol papuntang mitochondria. Now, in your energy metab, what is the PO ratio for your NADH? Abrigo. PO ratio for NADH? For your malate aspartate shuttle?
I don't know po, Doc. Sorry.
Gatches, Maria Patricia. Hindi kayo nakinig sa lecture nyo sa energy metab, ba? Gatches, Maria Patricia. PO ratio for NADH using your malate aspartate shuttle.
2.5 po.
0.5 only?
2.5 po.
2.5. How about if you are using the glycerol phosphate shuttle? Anong PO ratio?
1.5 po.
1.5. So that means for every NADH that enters the electron transport chain and you are using the malate aspartate shuttle, you produce 2.5 ATPs times 2. Bakit ita times 2? Kasi merong manggagaling sa dihydroxyacetone. So 5 ATPs if you are using the malate aspartate shuttle, but if you are using the glycerol phosphate shuttle, 1.5 times 2, 3 lang. Magkaiba. Depende sa shuttle system. Now, the ATP production, if you are using the ETC, tawag doon oxidative phosphorylation. Okay. The 7th reaction, 1,3-diphosphoglycerate to 3-phosphoglycerate, if you look at the pathway, the reaction, nag-produce ka ng ATP. Pero, hindi ka naman pumasok sa ETC. So this is what you call substrate level phosphorylation. Production of ATP without the electron transport chain. You produce 1 ATP times 2, magiging 2. And then the 8th reaction, 3-phosphoglycerate to 2-phosphoglycerate. This is just a phosphoryl shift. Binago mo lang yung position ng phosphate from position 3 to position 2. Phosphoryl shift ang tawag doon. The next reaction, the 9th reaction, 2-phosphoglycerate to phosphoenol pyruvate. This is a dehydration reaction. nagtanggal ka ng tubig, ng water. And this is catalyzed by enolase. The best inhibitor for enolase is fluoride. The last reaction, the 10th reaction, phosphoenol pyruvate to pyruvate. If you look at it, it is similar to the 6th reaction. 7 pala, 7. Pareho silang nag-produce ng ATP na hindi ka pumasok sa ETC. So this is another substrate level phosphorylation. 1 ATP times 2 equals 2. Alright. So sa glycolysis, dalawa yung substrate level. Catalyzed by phosphoglycerate kinase and pyruvate kinase. Isa lang yung oxidative phosphorylation. If you look at the last reaction, it is also irreversible. So it is also a control point. So if I want you to enumerate now the control enzymes of glycolysis, what are they? Bernardo, share hands. Control enzymes of glycolysis.
Glucokinase po.
And ano yung partner?
Hexokinase po.
And then?
And we also have the phosphofructokinase.
Yes, and then?
And then we also have the pyruvate kinase.
All right, so those are the control enzymes. And among these 3 control enzymes, you have the rate-limiting enzyme. That's your phosphofructokinase 1. Now, the last reaction is called the Big Bang. Big Bang, B-A-N-G, in glycolysis. Why Big Bang? Because you produce energy here, and phosphoenol pyruvate is a high-energy compound. Mataas yung energy level dito. So you call this the Big Bang of glycolysis. Now, if the condition becomes anaerobic, walang ETC. So, paano mo ngayon i-convert yung NADH back to NAD kung walang ETC? You will now use this NADH to convert the pyruvate to lactate. Ito na yung NADH na nandito, dapat napapasok sa ETC. Wala kang ETC. So, ginamit mo ngayon yung NADH to convert the pyruvate to lactate in the presence of the enzyme lactate dehydrogenase. That's why your end product for anaerobic glycolysis is lactate. Dalawang lactate, dalawang pyruvate ang galing sa glucose. Okay, so that's anaerobic glycolysis. Wala kang ETC. Question now. If 1 mole of glucose undergoes aerobic glycolysis, and you are using the malate aspartate shuttle, how many ATPs do you produce? I repeat, 1 mole of glucose going through aerobic glycolysis. You are using the malate aspartate shuttle. How many ATPs now are you going to produce? Gross. Acosta.
10 po, Doc.
Fargas, Luis, do you agree na 10? What's your answer? Fargas.
Yes po, Doc.
Do you agree with Grammy na 10? You agree?
Yes po.
Feliz, Flores, ilan? Bilangin nyo. It's just a matter of counting. Diniscuss na natin isa-isa bawat reaction kung ilan ang ATPs na makukuha mo. So you just have to add. So how many?
Doc, 9 po yung gross.
Sinong sumagot?
Stephen po.
Stephen, sige. Saan galing yung 9? Tama ka.
5 po from step 6, 2 po from 7 and 10. Tagdalawa po sila. So 5 plus 2 plus 2.
Alright. Very good. Very good. You get 5. You're using the malate aspartate shuttle. So you get 5 from the glycerol dehydrophosphate dehydrogenase, 2 from the phosphoglycerate kinase step, and 2 from the pyruvate kinase step. Gross of 9. Pag sinabing net, ima-minus mo yung dalawa na ginamit sa priming states. So gross of 9, net of 7. If you are using the glycerol phosphate shuttle, ilang ATPs ngayon yung maproproduce? O, Joel, ikaw naman. You are using the glycerol phosphate shuttle. Ilan na yung ATPs mo? Gross.
7 po, Doc.
7. You only produce 3 dito sa glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate kasi glycerol phosphate shuttle yung shuttle. 3 plus 2 plus 2 is 7. Gross, net of 5. Okay. Now, if the condition is anaerobic, how many ATPs now do you produce? Gross. Daniel, danganan.
2 po from
Gross.
4.
Gross of 4. Saan galing yung 4?
2 po from step 7 and then 2 po from step 10.
Alright. Galing lang sa substrate level pag anaerobic kasi wala kang ETC noon. So wala kang oxidative phosphorylation. So gross of 4, net of 2. Okay. Now, you must know how to compute for the ATP production starting from whatever point in glycolysis. Kasi hindi naman palaging nag-i-start lang sa glucose yan. So halimbawa, I ask you, how many moles of ATP are you going to produce if 1 mole of dihydroxy acetone phosphate undergoes aerobic glycolysis and you are using the malate aspartate shuttle? Charlotte Hernandez. Ilan? Dihydroxy acetone phosphate going through aerobic glycolysis. You're using the malate aspartate shuttle. Ilan?
I don't know po, Doc.
Belaro? Marjorie? Kayo ba nakikinig sa lecture o hindi? You're just doing your thing. Kaya hindi kayo makasunod. Kasi pag nakikinig kayo, at least makakasunod kayo. Brittany, Chua. How many? Bibilangin mo lang yan. Bawat step. Abrigo? Hindi ka pa rin makasunod. Gaches, Maria, Patricia. How many? You are starting only from dihydroxyacetone phosphate.
Doc, sa ano po? Malate aspartate shuttle system po?
Yeah, you're using the malate aspartate shuttle.
5 po.
5. Castro, Andrea, do you agree? 5. You are starting from dihydroxy, and you're using the malate aspartate shuttle.
No po, Doc.
Ilan dapat?
Wait lang. Wait. I lost the computation po. Pero I don't agree.
Oh, what should it be? Alam mo kasi kung alam mo yung ATP sa bawat step, you just add. Nag-start ka sa dihydroxy, Gross ATP production.
7 po, Doc.
7. How about Abinal? Do you agree? 7.
Yes po, Doc.
You agree with 7? 7 is wrong. Oh, Stephen, ikaw. Do you agree with 7?
Doc, hindi po, pero kinocompute ko pa po. Yung
Oh,
double
sige,
check.
computein mo. Remember, you are starting only from dihydroxyacetone. Kanina yung sinagot mo, you started from glucose. And you answered 9. That's correct. Ngayon, start lang natin dihydroxy. So, alin dyan yung i-add mo?
Yung dalawang ATP po.
Saan?
Parang 11 po, Doc. Di po ako sure.
Dumami pa.
Ay, sorry.
Nag-start ka sa dihydroxy lang. Kanina glucose 9 lang. Eh, ba't dadami pa kung dihydroxy? Hindi ba yung glucose nag-split? You splitted your glucose to dihydroxy and glyceraldehyde. Dinivide mo into 2. So, i-divide mo by 2, yung 9. Ano dapat ang sagot?
4.5.
4.5. Alam mo ba kung bakit 4.5? Di ba sabi ko kanina, from here on, yung dihydroxy at saka glyceraldehyde, interconvertible. So, ano mang mangyari sa glyceraldehyde, ganun din yung dihydroxy. Kaya nga ita-times 2 mo eh. Dahil pareho yung pathway na nanggagaling sa glyceraldehyde at saka dihydroxy. Ang tinatanong ko lang yung sa dihydroxy. So, one side only. So, dito sa NADH, 2.5 ka lang. Tapos, sa phosphoglycerate kinase, isa lang. Isa lang din sa pyruvate kinase. Kaya naging 4.5. Pero pinaka-common sense dyan, glucose in-split mo into 2. So, divide mo lang yung 9 by 2 equals 4.5. Kuha nyo?
Gets po, Doc.
Common sense. Ngayon, ang tanong, gross yun eh. Eh, pag tinanong ko yung net ATP production, you are starting from dihydroxyacetone phosphate, net ATP production, gross mo is 4.5. Ilan ngayon yung net? Anybody? Abigail, Gabionsa. Ilan?
I don't know po, Doc.
Hindi ka pa rin nakakasunod. Maver?
Doc,
4.5 yung gross.
3.5 po.
Bernardo, do you agree? 3.5?
Doc, I'm not sure po.
Sure. Ilan ba mina-minus natin pag nagma-minus tayo? Belaro, Marjorie. Ilan yung minus natin sa kanina para mag-net?
2 ATPs.
2 ATPs. O ngayon, nasa dihydroxy ka lang nag-umpisa.
2.5 po.
To 4.5 minus 2. Mali. Bakit mali? Nag-umpisa ka sa dihydroxy eh. Hindi ka naman nag-umpisa sa glucose. Saan ka ba gumamit ng ATP? Glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, fructose 6 to fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. Doon ka gumamit ng ATP. Hindi naman dinaanan yun ng dihydroxy eh. Pag dito ka nag-umpisa sa dihydroxy, walang ATP na ginamit. So you do not deduct 2 ATPs. Dinideduct lang yun kung nanggaling ka sa glucose. Kuha nyo? Tagalog na yan. So dapat naintindihan ninyo. Unless na Koreano kayo at hindi kayo makaintindi ng Tagalog. Okay? So nag-umpisa ka kasi dito sa dihydroxy. Tapos na yung pag-minus mo ng, tapos na yung paggamit mo ng ATP sa glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, fructose 6 to fructose 6-phosphate. Okay? So, you must know how to compute for your ATP production wherever you start. Kung hindi nyo alam yan, mabubuang kayo. Babagsak kayo sa exam. Because I'm very fan of asking numbers. So, aralin nyo yan, maigi. Now, how do you control glycolysis? The major reaction or the major function of glycolysis is to produce ATP. So, the major factor that controls it is the level of ATP in your body. Pag mataas na yung ATP level mo, you are going to inhibit the pathway. Mataas na eh. Pero, if your ATP level is low, then you are going to stimulate the pathway. Anong sabi ko kanina? You only stimulate or inhibit the control points. Kaya nakasulat dyan yung mga control enzymes. You inhibit phosphofructokinase 1 if the level of ATP is high, if your ATP-AMP ratio is high, kasi ibig sabihin nun, mataas na yung energy mo. So you inhibit. Baligtarin mo. If your ADP and AMP level are the ones that are high, ibig sabihin, mababa yung ATP. Pag mataas si ADP at saka AMP, mababa si ATP. So you're going to stimulate the control enzymes. Common sense lang yan. Mababa energy mo, kailangan mo ng marami pang energy, so you stimulate the pathway that produces the energy. Mataas na yung energy mo, hindi mo na kailangan mag-produce pa ng extra energy, so you inhibit the pathway that produces the energy. Alright. Now, these are the different inhibitors. Deoxyglucose inhibits hexokinase. Iodoacetate inhibits glyceroldehyde, triphosphate dehydrogenase. Fluoride inhibits enolase. I already mentioned that. Pyruvate dehydrogenase and alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase are inhibited by arsenate. Now, these two enzymes are not part of glycolysis, but you will meet them under the different pathways. So, the end product of glycolysis is pyruvate, aerobic. What happens to the pyruvate? It can be converted to lactate when the condition becomes anaerobic. Or you can convert it back to glucose. Or you can convert it to oxaloacetate. Once it is converted to oxaloacetate, you now have the first substrate for the Krebs cycle. Kasi yung Krebs cycle, ang unang reaction sa Krebs cycle is oxaloacetate plus acetyl-CoA equals citrate. So, you can form oxaloacetate from pyruvate. Or, pwede siyang maging amino acid. Di ba sabi ko kanina, one of the functions of glycolysis is for the different intermediates to be converted to amino acids. Pyruvate, when you add an amino group through transamination, you can convert it to the amino acid alanine. The major fate of pyruvate is oxidative decarboxylation to acetyl-CoA. Major fate. Now, the enzyme that is used to convert pyruvate to acetyl-CoA, pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. Pag sinabing complex, ibig sabihin, hindi lang siya iisa na enzyme. And actually, this reaction is 5 steps. Nakasummarize lang na isang step yan. Pero actually, 5 yan. So, the pyruvate dehydrogenase complex is actually made of 3 enzymes. Pyruvate dehydrogenase, the coenzymes are thiamine pyrophosphate, TPP. This is vitamin B1. And dihydrolipoyl transacetylase, that's your, it uses lipoamide and CoASH as your coenzyme. Then dihydrolipoyl dehydrogenase uses FAD and NAD. So, 5 steps yan. Now, pyruvate, once it is formed in the cytosol from glycolysis, will go to the mitochondria. So, itong reaction na to is in the mitochondria already. Pyruvate dehydrogenase is a mitochondrial enzyme. Now, take note, the coenzymes that you use are majority B-complex vitamins. B1, thiamine. FAD is riboflavin, B2. CoASH is pantothenic acid, B5. And NAD is niacin, B3. Importante na meron kang B-complex vitamins in order to convert pyruvate to acetyl-CoA. And what is the importance of converting pyruvate to acetyl-CoA? Para pumasok siya sa Krebs cycle. Because the first reaction in the Krebs cycle is acetyl-CoA plus oxaloacetate equals citrate. Eh ano ba ang Krebs cycle? It is the major ATP producing pathway in your body. Major na nagproduce ng ATP. So, in order for you to produce the maximum amount of ATP from your glucose, it must enter the Krebs cycle. Ano ngayon ang mangyayari kung wala kang thiamine? Thiamine kasi ang unang gagamitin dito. So, if thiamine is deficient, your pyruvate cannot be converted to acetyl-CoA. Hindi siya papasok sa Krebs. Pag hindi nakapasok yung glucose mo sa Krebs, your energy production is very low. Kulang na kulang ka sa energy. And how do you manifest that? Pag kulang ka ba ng energy, anong manifestation mo? Gail, Cruz. Anong manifestation mo kung kulang ka ng energy? All right, you have weakness. So that's one manifestation of vitamin B1 deficiency, severe muscle weakness. And the muscle weakness doesn't only affect the the skeletal muscles, it also affects the cardiac muscles. So if you have vitamin B1 deficiency, ano nga bang tawag doon? B1 deficiency or thiamine deficiency. Anong sakit? Maple? Ba't wala kang apelyido dyan sa pangalan mo? Anong disease ang B1 deficiency? Alam yan ng elementary. Tinuturo ng elementary yan. Anong tawag doon sa sakit? Sino hindi nyo alam yan?
Very po.
Very, of course. Alam nyo ng elementary, naririnig ko yung apo ko nagme-memorize niyan. Vitamin B1 prevents very. Vitamin C prevents scurvy. Siyempre, hindi nila alam kung ano yung sakit, but they know the disease. So in very, that's vitamin B1 deficiency. Majority of the manifestations of very are neurological. You have tingling sensations, numbness, yung mga tinatawag na tusok-tusok, pricking sensations at the tips of your fingers. Yun yung manifestation. But it can also have severe muscle weakness. And it's not only the skeletal muscles that are affected, but the cardiac muscles. So nakakamatay yan. Because you can go into cardiac failure. There is a type of beriberi that goes into cardiac failure, and that is what you call Shushin beriberi. SHOSHIN. Shushin beriberi can go into cardiac failure. All right, so aside from severe muscle weakness, if you do not have thiamine, pyruvate cannot go to acetyl-CoA. It will now be going towards lactic acid production. So, ano mangyayari? You will be producing a lot of lactic acid, and so you go into lactic acidosis. That is the second manifestation of thiamine deficiency. Aside from severe muscle weakness, you have your lactic acidosis because the pyruvate that cannot be converted to acetyl-CoA is now channeled towards lactic acid production. All right, so that happens if thiamine is deficient. Now, there are inborn errors associated with the different enzymes. Inborn error means pinanganak na may deficiency ng enzyme. So if aldolase is deficient, remember aldolase is the cleavage enzyme in glycolysis. You have hemolytic anemia. If pyruvate kinase is deficient, you also have hemolytic anemia. There is another enzyme in carbohydrates metabolism, which when deficient also gives you hemolytic anemia. This is called G6PD, glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. That's the rate-limiting enzyme of the HMP shunt, hexose monophosphate shunt. So nagbibigay din yun ng hemolytic anemia. So tatlo sila. Now, if you have a deficiency of phosphoproctokinase, remember this is the rate-limiting enzyme of glycolysis. So walang glycolysis, wala kang energy production, your exercise capacity is low dahil wala kang energy. If pyruvate dehydrogenase is deficient, pyruvate is not converted to acetyl-CoA, it is channeled more towards lactic acid production. So you go into lactic acidosis. Now, the so-called Cori cycle or the lactic acid cycle is actually the conversion of lactate formed in the skeletal muscles back to glucose in the liver. So yung lactic acid na na-produce sa muscles, pupunta yun sa liver. Pagdating sa liver, it undergoes a process or pathway called gluconeogenesis. And it is converted to glucose. So lactate to glucose. Pag naging glucose na siya ulit sa liver, pwede na siyang bumalik ulit sa skeletal muscles. It can now be used again as source of energy for your skeletal muscles. So the recycling of the lactate formed in the muscles back to glucose in the liver, then back again to the muscles. Yan yung sinasabing Cori cycle or your lactic acid cycle. Now let's talk about the acetyl-CoA. You get acetyl-CoA from glucose, passing through pyruvate, and then acetyl-CoA. You also get acetyl-CoA from fats. When fatty acids undergo beta oxidation, you get acetyl-CoA. You also get acetyl-CoA from amino acids when they undergo catabolism. So ang ibig sabihin, lahat ng kakainin mo, pwedeng magbigay sa'yo ng acetyl-CoA. That's why acetyl-CoA is called a central metabolite. Central. Anything that you eat can give you acetyl-CoA. And aside from that, maraming pathways ang papasukan ng acetyl-CoA. 80% of acetyl-CoA goes to the Krebs. 80%. 20% are converted to ketone bodies, cholesterol, bile acids, steroid hormones, triacyl, prostaglandins. 20 lang yan. So karamihan dapat pumasok sa Krebs. Pero acetyl-CoA can only enter the Krebs if you have insulin. Insulin has a permissive effect on the Krebs cycle. So paano kung diabetic ka at hindi kontrolado ang diabetes mo? Anong mangyayari dito sa acetyl-CoA mo? Hindi siya makakapasok sa Krebs kasi nga kulang ka ng insulin. Kung may papasok man, konting-konti lang. And majority now of your acetyl-CoA will be channeled more towards ketone body production. Kaya nga, one of the complications of diabetes is diabetic ketoacidosis. Sumobra yung dami ng ketone bodies na na-produce mo dahil yung acetyl-CoA hindi pumasok sa Krebs. And as I've told you a while ago, it kills even in 24 hours. O kaya, naging cholesterol siya instead na pumasok sa Krebs. So you will now have premature atherosclerosis. Magkakaroon ka ng mga atheromatous plaques that are going to obstruct your blood vessel walls. If your coronary arteries are the ones that are obstructed, you can go into myocardial infarction. Magkakaroon ka ng heart attack. Or the cerebral arteries going to your brain are the ones that are obstructed by the atheroma. Magkakaroon ka ng stroke. Or the retinal arteries going to your eyes are the ones that are obstructed. Magkakaroon ka ng blindness. That's why blindness is one of the complications of diabetes mellitus. Or the renal arteries are the ones that are blocked. So you go into renal failure. At pag nag-renal failure ka, mabilis ka nang mamatay. Maski mag-dialysis ka pa. In several years, maski naka-dialysis ka pa, mamamatay ka rin. So, it all boils down because the acetyl-CoA was not able to enter the Krebs cycle. Instead, it was channeled more towards the production of bad substances like your ketone bodies and your cholesterol. So, importante, pumasok siya sa Krebs cycle. Okay. So, what are the synonyms of the Krebs cycle? It's the citric acid cycle or the tricarboxylic acid cycle. This is located in the mitochondria. This is what you call the final common pathway of metabolism. Final common pathway. Common to all the foods that you eat. Kasi carbohydrates, fats, and proteins gives you acetyl-CoA. Kaya common pathway. It is also referred to as an ampibolic pathway. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng ampibolic? There is a catabolic part, degradation. there is an anabolic part, synthesis. The catabolic part is the generation of ATP. That's the catabolic part. And the anabolic part is when you use the intermediates of the pathway to synthesize other substances. Halimbawa, alpha-ketoglutarate is a member of the Krebs. Pwede mong gamitin yan to synthesize glutamic acid. Oxaloacetate, you can use it to synthesize aspartic acid. Citrate, you can use it to synthesize fatty acids. And succinyl-CoA, you use it to synthesize heme. So this is the anabolic part of your Krebs cycle. Okay, so what are the reactions in the Krebs cycle? You start with acetyl-CoA plus oxaloacetate producing citrate or citric acid. Enzyme for that is citrate synthase. Citrate synthase. That is already the rate-limiting step. Yung una pa lang. Yan na yung major control point. The rate-limiting step or the committed step. Take note of the steps where you have NADH release. Papasok yan sa ETC. Now, unlike glycolysis na nasa cytosol, ang Krebs nasa mitochondria na. So you do not need shuttle systems here. Pasok yan kaagad sa ETC. So pag NADH yan, 2.5 kaagad yung ATP production mo. So take note of all the NADH releasing reactions. First is the isocitrate dehydrogenase step. Second is the alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase step. And third is the malate dehydrogenase step. Tatlo yung NADH times 2.5 equals 7.5 ATPs. And then you have one FAD H2, 1.5 ATP. So 7.5 plus 1.5 equals 9 ATPs produced through oxidative phosphorylation kasi pumasok ka sa ETC. Now there is one substrate level phosphorylation here, and that's succinyl-CoA to succinate catalyzed by succinate thiokinase. Nag-produce ka ng isa na ATP. That substrate level of phosphorylation. So total ATP production per turn of the Krebs cycle is 10. 9 came from oxidative phosphorylation. 1 from substrate level phosphorylation. 10. What are the control points? The major control point, the rate limiting step, the citrate synthase step. Second control point, isocitrate dehydrogenase. Third control point, alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. And fourth, succinate dehydrogenase. Pareho sila ng glycolysis. Sinabi ko kanina, partners ang glycolysis at saka Krebs. So whatever stimulates your glycolysis will also stimulate the Krebs. Whatever inhibits it will also inhibit the Krebs. So if your energy level is high, you inhibit glycolysis, you inhibit also the Krebs cycle. When your energy level is low, you stimulate glycolysis, you stimulate also the Krebs cycle. So you stimulate the control enzymes. Okay? Now take note also that per turn of the Krebs, you release water. Dalawa. One from aconitase step, another from fumarase step. You also release carbon dioxide. Dalawa din. One from isocitrate dehydrogenase, another one from the alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase step. So if you're going to summarize the equation for the Krebs cycle, one turn of the Krebs cycle produces 3 NADH, 1 FADH2, 2 moles of carbon dioxide, 2 moles of water, and 10 ATPs per turn of the Krebs cycle. Now, if you're going to look at the alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase step, parehong-pareho yan ng pyruvate dehydrogenase. Gumagamit din siya ng TPP, FAD, lipoic, CoASH, and NAD. That's the reason why pareho silang inhibited ng arsenate. Alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase and pyruvate dehydrogenase are both inhibited by arsenate. Okay. Now, when you say complete oxidation of glucose, ang ibig sabihin ng complete oxidation ng glucose, dadaan siya ng glycolysis, dadaan din siya ng pyruvate dehydrogenase reaction, and dadaan din siya ng Krebs cycle. Yun yung complete oxidation ng glucose. So pag ang tanong, how many ATPs do you produce if 1 mole of glucose undergoes complete oxidation and you are using the malate aspartate shuttle? Complete oxidation of glucose, you are using the malate aspartate shuttle. Total ATP production. Bilangin nyo. You add. Okay? Brittany, Chua, what's your answer? Gross gross. Malate aspartate ang shuttle. What's your number?
19 po ba, Dok?
Ilan?
19.
19. Abrigo, Nikia, do you agree? 19.
Yes po.
Duchess, Maria? No. Maria, Duchess.
No po, Dok.
Ilan?
Per gross po, 34
Gross.
ATP po.
30.
4 ATP.
34 ATP. And then, Andrea Castro, do you agree?
Yes po, yung gross po 34 ATP.
34. Saan galing yung 34? Can you explain that? Maria, si Miss Ang mag-explain. 34 ang sagot.
Sa aerobic glycolysis po, you'll get 9 ATP.
Alright, 9 ATPs.
And then in the PDH complex, you get 5 ATP.
Alright, 5 dito.
And
Kasi
then,
dalawang pyruvate, dalawa din yung NADH. 2.5 times equals 5. So 14 na. And then
in the Krebs cycle, mas maraming ATP, so it's 20, which is equal to 34.
Bakit naging 20? Eh, isang turn 10 lang.
Ay.
Ilang acetyl-CoA ba yung na-produce from glucose? Ilan?
3.
Ilang acetyl-CoA? Ilang pyruvates ba yung na-produce? Pamela, ilang pyruvate ang na-produce sa isang glucose? Hala, Poronda. Ilang pyruvate from glucose?
Dalawa po to.
Dalawang pyruvate, dalawang lactate. So, dalawa yung acetyl-CoA mo. So, kung dalawa yung acetyl-CoA mo, dalawang beses iikot yung Krebs. Kaya 10 times 2 equals 20. Kuha nyo kung saan galing si 34. 9 from aerobic glycolysis, 5 from the pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, and 2 for the 2 and 20 for the 2 turns of the Krebs cycle. Gross of 34, net of 32 kasi ima-minus mo yung dalawang ATP na ginamit sa priming stage. Now, if you are using the glycerol phosphate shuttle, 7 sa aerobic glycolysis, plus 5 sa pyruvate dehydrogenase, 12, plus 20 sa dalawang ikot ng Krebs, gross of 32, net of 30. Aralin yung mabuti yan, kundi mabubuang kayo sa exams. Okay? So that's your complete oxidation of glucose. Dadaan siya ng glycolysis, dadaan siya ng pyruvate dehydrogenase complex hanggang sa Krebs cycle. Alright. Now, because the Krebs cycle is a very important pathway in your body, the body sees to it na hindi ka mauubusan ng intermediates. Kaya merong pang fill up or what you call anaplerotic reactions. These are reactions that will fill up for any intermediate that is lacking. Halimbawa, maubusan ka ng malate, merong pangpalit sa malate. Pag naubusan ka ng alpha-ketoglutarate, may pampalit sa alpha-ketoglutarate. Now, yung major anaplerotic reaction is the formation of oxaloacetate from pyruvate plus ATP, carbon dioxide, and water. Ito yung tinatawag na pyruvate carboxylase reaction. It is the major anaplerotic reaction. Take note, it takes place in the liver and in the kidneys, and it uses biotin as coenzyme. Ang biotin is another B-complex vitamin. It's B7. Yan yung major anaplerotic reaction. Okay? Now, another pathway, which actually is the reverse of the two pathways. Kabaligtaran ng Krebs at saka ng glycolysis. You call it gluconeogenesis. What does this pathway mean? Genesis means synthesis. Gluco for glucose. Neo means new. So this is the synthesis of glucose from non-carbohydrate sources. And these non-carbohydrate sources are lactate, glycerol, and amino acids. So ibig sabihin, pwede mong i-convert sa glucose ang lactic acid. Pwede mong i-convert sa glucose ang fats, specifically the glycerol part, and amino acids can also be converted to glucose. And this pathway primarily takes place in the liver as well as in your kidneys. Okay. Now, what is the importance of gluconeogenesis? This is the pathway that maintains your blood sugar even if you are not eating. Or it is the pathway that maintains your blood sugar during the times that you are not eating. Yung blood sugar ninyo, oh, by the way, what is the normal blood sugar level? Luis, Vargas, anong alam mo na normal blood sugar level? Luis? What's your normal blood sugar level? Hindi mo alam kung ano dapat ang normal mo? Abigail, Gabionsa. Normal blood sugar level. Paano mo masasabi kung diabetic ka na o hindi kung hindi mo alam yung normal?
Mga 70 to 99 po, no?
Abina, do you agree? Sinong medtech sa inyo? Walang medtech sa inyo?
Less than 140 milligrams po per deciliter.
Ibig sabihin, pag 130, normal pa rin? Less than 140
hindi
lang.
po. Mga 70 to 110 milligrams per deciliter po.
Actually, the normal blood sugar level depends upon the method that you are using. If you are using the old method, the Fall-in-Wu method, 80 to 120 milligrams per deciliter ang normal. 80 to 120. But another method has 70 to 110 as the normal value. 70 to 110. Pag gumagamit ka ng glucometer, iba-iba din yung normal value. And when you are using the glucometer, you must look at the normal value depende sa strip na ginagamit. Nakalagay doon sa lalagyan ng strip kung ano yung normal value ng glucose para sa kanila. So this is very important because you must know kung ano yung nakalagay doon sa strip. Halimbawa, ang alam mo na normal value is 80 to 120 kasi kadalasan yun yung normal. Tapos, gumamit ka ng glucometer, gumamit ka ng strip, ang nakuha mong value ay 150. So, mataas yun sa 120. So, sasabihin mo na bang diabetic ka? You must know first the normal value for the strip. that you use. Because there is a strip na ang normal value niya is 100 to 160. Basahin mo doon sa lalagyan ng strip kung ano yung normal level. So, pag nagkaganon, na yung nakasulat doon is up to 160 ang normal. Maski 150 pa yung nakuha mo na blood sugar, normal ka pa rin. Kasi depende doon sa ginamit mo na strip. Kuha nyo. So, kailangan alam mong tignan doon sa lalagyan ng strip. Pero if you're using the usual lab test, 80 to 120 yan. So, pag nag-140 ka, medyo mataas na yon. Nowadays, we rely on the glycosylated hemoglobin. Kasi pwede kang dayain dyan sa fasting blood sugar. Pag nag-overfast yung pasyente, pwedeng ang baba-baba ng blood sugar niya. Kasi ang tagal niyang hindi kumain eh. Pwede kang dayain. Pero, if you get the glycosylated hemoglobin, HbA1c, that is not affected by fasting because it represents your blood sugar level for a period of 2 to 3 months. So, kung duda ka doon sa pasyente na kukunan mo ng fasting blood sugar, kasi pwede kang dayain, nag-overfasting siya. When in fact, ang fasting lang dapat 8 to 10 hours. Hindi siya kumain 16 hours. So, nung kinuha mo yung fasting niya, ang baba-baba. So, to verify that, kunan mo ng glycosylated hemoglobin. Kasi maski hindi pa kumain niya ng 2 araw, hindi niya mababago yung glycosylated niya. So, you rely on the glycosylated hemoglobin. Now, why is it so important that you maintain your blood sugar? Kasi pag nag-hypoglycemia ka, below 60, that can cause brain damage, irreversible brain damage, that can even lead to coma and death. Hindi ka dapat nag-hypo. Kaya lang, every day, what maintains your blood sugar? Anybody? Paano na ma-maintain na 80 to 120 yung blood sugar mo? Stephen, do you know the answer?
Ano po yung storage po ng glucose, yung glycogen po?
No. Araw-araw. Regular na nagme-maintain ng blood sugar mo. Marjorie, do you know that? What maintains your blood sugar every day? The food that you eat. Bakit ka kumakain araw-araw? Ang tanong ay, bakit ka kumakain araw-araw? That's to maintain your blood sugar level. Kasi pag hindi ka na kumain, mag-dip down yung blood sugar mo. Normally, let's say ang blood sugar mo ay 80, fasting. Paggising mo, gutom ka. Kakain ka. Depende sa kinain mo, tataas yung blood sugar mo syempre. Assuming na wala kang problema sa absorption. Ha? So, depende to sa what you eat, pwedeng umakyat yung blood sugar mo up to 140. 160, pwede pa rin. Kasi nga, kumain ka, inabsorb mo yung glucose. So, after eating, in about 1 hour, you expect that blood sugar to go up. Sabi natin nag-140 ka. From 80 to 140 dahil kumain ka. You are now in a temporary state of hyperglycemia. So at that point where you are in a temporary state of hyperglycemia, what do you release? Anong marirelease? Insulin. The most potent stimulus for the release of your insulin is a hyperglycemia. Tumaas yung blood sugar mo dahil kumain ka. In 1 hour's time, nakapick yan. So you stimulate your insulin to be released. Ibababa ng insulin yung blood sugar mo. In 2 hours time, nakabalik ka na sa 80. That's the purpose of the insulin. Ibababa niya. Kasi kung palagi yung nakataas na 140, that's bad. Magdadiabetes ka niyan. Kung kulang ka ng insulin at hindi bumaba yung blood sugar mo, paano yan bababa? palaging nakataas. And so you develop diabetes mellitus. Kaya nga, in 2 hours time na nakabalik na yung blood sugar mo sa baseline, gutom ka na naman. Kaya nga ginugutom ko after 2 to 3 hours eh. So kakain ka na naman para umakyat ulit yung blood sugar mo. And then your insulin is released again to lower it. Ganon lang yun. Ngayon, paano kung hindi ka makakain? Binaha sa inyo. Hanggang second floor ng bahay mo may tubig. Nandun ka ngayon sa tuktok ng bahay mo. Wala kang dalang pagkain kasi nagmadali kang umakyat. Isang araw na hindi ka pa kumakain. Mag-hypoglycemia ka ba nun? Dito papasok yung sagot mo, Stephen. Hindi ka kumakain dahil wala kang makain. Your glycogen will now undergo breakdown. Di ba may nakadeposit ka na glycogen sa muscle at saka sa liver mo? That will undergo lysis, glycogenolysis. It will convert the glycogen to glucose to maintain the blood sugar maski hindi ka kumain. For the first 12 to 18 hours na hindi ka kumain, your blood sugar can be maintained by your glycogen. Hanggang 18 hours lang. Beyond that, ubos na si glycogen mo. Paano na ngayon? Nasa tuktok ka pa rin ng bahay. So are you ready to go into hypoglycemia? Hindi pa rin. Because now, you can go into gluconeogenesis. So kung kanina, nag-glycogenolysis ka to have your glycogen converted to glucose, now, you will now have gluconeogenesis at ang gagamitin mo, yung fats mo, yung mga bilbil mo, they will undergo breakdown to release fatty acids and glycerol. Yung glycerol ang magiging glucose. And how long will it sustain you? Depende kung gaano karami kang bilbil dyan. The more, the better. Because it can even sustain you for 1 week na hindi kumakain. For as long as you have those deposited fats being converted to glucose, the glycerol part. This is the reason why there are survivors na nadadaganan sa earthquake. There was once an earthquake in the 1990s. Di pa kayo buhay yata nun. A big earthquake that toppled down the Hyatt Hotel in Baguio. There was a big hotel, 5-star hotel, the Hyatt Hotel. Completely toppled down yun during that earthquake. And merong survivor na isang babae na nakuha nila under the rubbles after 9 days. 9 days na hindi kumain. Okay siya na lumabas. Why? Mataba siya. So, nag-gluconeogenesis siya using the glycerol of her fats. Now, take note. Maski marami ka pang bilbil, kung wala kang water and air, hindi ka rin mabubuhay. Maski isang araw, hindi ka mabubuhay na walang water and air. Bakit siya may tubig? Umuulan. Kasi July yun eh. That big earthquake, 7.4 yata yung intensity. One of the buildings of FEU was destroyed. The hospital of FEU was also destroyed during that earthquake. So, merong tubig dahil umuulan araw-araw. Yung sabi ng babae, I collected the rainwater with my palms and then I drank it. Siyempre, lasang semento yun. Dumaan sa rubbles. And then she said, I also collect my urine whenever I urinated. Tubig pa rin yun. And, bakit may air? Eh, may siwang-siwang din naman yung rubbles eh. Hindi naman solid yun. May siwang-siwang, nakakadaan si air. And so she survived. And the primary reason why hindi siya nag-hypoglycemia because she had a lot of fat to undergo gluconeogenesis. So life-saving ang gluconeogenesis. It is the one that will maintain your blood sugar beyond the glycogen that you have. Kuha nyo? Okay. So what is involved in gluconeogenesis? Ano yung pathway? It is actually the reverse of glycolysis and the Krebs cycle. Yung right side, ito yung glycolysis. Yung left side, that's the Krebs. Pag nag-gluconeogenesis ka, pabalik yun sa glucose. Paakyat. So reverse. Ngayon, di ba sa glycolysis merong irreversible steps? When you are doing gluconeogenesis, you must know how to reverse the irreversible steps. First irreversible step, hexokinase glucokinase, you just change the enzyme to glucose 6-phosphatase to convert now glucose 6-phosphate to glucose. Yung phosphofructokinase naman, you change it to fructose 1,6-bisphosphatase to convert now fructose 1,6-bisphosphate to fructose 6-phosphate. Yung pangatlong irreversible enzyme, pyruvate kinase, there is no single enzyme that can reverse it. Kailangan pumasok ka muna sa mitochondria to convert the pyruvate first to oxaloacetate. You need pyruvate carboxylase. And then oxaloacetate to malate, then out into the cytosol, convert again the malate to oxaloacetate, and then oxaloacetate to phosphoenol pyruvate using phosphoenol pyruvate carboxykinase or PepsiK. So dalawa yung enzyme, major enzyme na kailangan mo to convert the pyruvate kinase step. Pyruvate carboxylase and the PepsiK or phosphoenol pyruvate carboxykinase. Ang tawag dito sa mga enzyme na pang-reverse ng irreversible steps, bypass enzymes. They bypass the irreversible steps. And these bypass enzymes are the control enzymes of gluconeogenesis. So glucose 6-phosphatase, fructose 1,6-bisphosphatase, pyruvate carboxylase, and PepsiK. Among these four, ang pinaka-major or rate-limiting is your PepsiK. Okay? PepsiK. Now, paano magiging glucose ang glycerol from fats? Pasok siya sa dihydroxyacetone phosphate. Convert the glycerol to glycerol phosphate, then to dihydroxyacetone phosphate. Pasok na yan. Sa glycolysis na yan. Then you just go up. Dihydroxy plus glyceraldehyde to fructose 1,6-bisphosphate to fructose 6-phosphate using fructose 1,6-bisphosphatase. Fructose 6 to glucose 6 using isomerase. Glucose 6-phosphate to glucose using glucose 6-phosphatase. That's glycerol. How about lactate? Pasok siya sa pyruvate. Lactate to pyruvate using lactate dehydrogenase. Pyruvate oxaloacetate, then to malate, out into the cytosol. Malate oxaloacetate, then oxaloacetate to phosphoenol pyruvate using PepsiK. And then up to glucose. Pag amino acids, the first thing that you must do with amino acids is to convert them to keto acids. Paano kino-convert ang amino acid to keto acid? The reaction is called deamination or transamination. Tatanggalan mo siya ng amino group. Di ba ang amino acid may amino group? Pag tinanggal mo yung amino group ng isang amino acid, ang magiging product, keto acid. Karamihan ng members ng Krebs cycle, keto acids yan. If you want to convert aspartic acid to glucose, when aspartic acid undergoes deamination, the keto acid that you get from aspartic acid is oxaloacetate. So member na siya ng Krebs. Ang alpha-ketoglutarate naman, yan yung keto acid na makukuha mo sa glutamic acid. Pyruvate is the keto acid that you get from alanine, glycine, cysteine, serine, and threonine. So, 5 yung papasok sa pyruvate. Actually, ang alpha-ketoglutarate can come from 5 amino acids also. Glutamic acid, glutamine, proline, histidine, and arginine. So, dyan sila papasok. Oxaloacetate naman can come from aspartic and asparagine. So, halimbawa, I want you to trace the pathway where glutamic acid becomes glucose. First reaction, deamination of glutamic acid, product, alpha-ketoglutarate. Alpha-ketoglutarate to succinyl-CoA to fumarate to malate. Malate gets out into the cytosol, converted to oxaloacetate, and then to phosphoenol pyruvate through PepsiK. Phosphoenol pyruvate to glyceraldehyde to fructose 1,6 to glucose. That's how you convert glutamic acid to glucose. Pasok muna sa Krebs. Labas sa glycolysis going reverse. Okay? So that's your gluconeogenesis, and it sustains your blood sugar during the times that you are not eating. Now, ang gluconeogenesis, kabaligtaran ng Krebs at saka glycolysis. So if you are stimulating the Krebs and the glycolysis, automatic, inhibited yung gluconeogenesis. Pag in-stimulate mo naman yung gluconeogenesis, inhibited naman si Krebs at saka glycolysis. Hindi sila pwedeng sabay-sabay na na-stimulate. Kasi nga magkabaliktad yan. Alright? So magkabaliktad. Now, kanina I told you to remember fructose 2,6-bisphosphate. That is the product if you are using the enzyme PFK2. Now, what is the role of fructose 2,6-bisphosphate? It is the most potent activator of PFK1. Phosphofructokinase 1 is the rate-limiting enzyme of glycolysis. So, ibig sabihin, pwedeng stimulatin ng fructose 2,6-bisphosphate yung glycolysis. Pag ini-stimulate mo ba yung glycolysis, anong mangyayari sa blood sugar mo? Will it go up or down? Class, up or down? Ini-stimulate mo sa glycolysis. Nakakababa ba ng blood sugar sa glycolysis o nakakataas? Ano bang ginagawa ni glycolysis? Di ba kino-convert niya yung glucose to energy? So, bababa yung glucose level mo. Kinonvert mo siya sa ATP eh. So, glycolysis is a hypoglycemic pathway. Nakakababa siya ng blood sugar. And that is stimulated by fructose 2,6-bisphosphate. Another action of fructose 2,6-bisphosphate, it inhibits fructose 1,6-bisphosphatase. This is a bypass enzyme in gluconeogenesis. Ini-inhibit siya ng fructose 2,6-bisphosphate. So, ibig sabihin, ini-inhibit ng fructose 2,6-bisphosphate ang gluconeogenesis. Anong effect pag ini-inhibit mo yung gluconeogenesis? Bababa yung blood sugar mo. Remember, there are two pathways na nakakataas ng blood sugar mo. You call them the hyperglycemic pathways. Glycogenolysis, dahil kino-convert niya yung glycogen to glucose, and gluconeogenesis, because it converts your glycerol amino acids to glucose. Nakakataas. Hyperglycemic. Kabaligtaran nun nung dalawang hypoglycemic pathways. Glycolysis, dahil kino-convert niya yung glucose to ATP, and your glycogenesis, kasi kino-convert niya yung glucose to glycogen for storage. Kuha niyo? Hypoglycemic versus hyperglycemic pathways. You will discuss that again under Dr. Alcantara when you discuss the control of the blood sugar level. So remember all these ones, yung mga actions ng mga substances that can either lower or elevate your blood sugar. The next pathway here is the H-N Pishant. This will now be discussed by Dr. Alcantara. So that ends my part. Any questions? You read your lecture guide, you listen to the uploaded video so that you will understand. Pag hindi nyo ginawa niyan for all your lecture topics, mahihirapan kayo. Eventually, you will see na wala na kayo sa biochem, na bumagsak na kayo. It will be too late. It is your responsibility. Responsibilidad nyo yan kung kayo ay papasa o hindi sa isang subject. Kung tamad kayong magbasa, tamad kayong makinig, wala. Huwag na lang kayong mag-medicine. Any questions? You can ask your questions. Any question? Ngayon, pag wala na kayong questions, then you can go because you still have a class up 3 to 5.